faithfully sharing value, interpreting great books from around the world. Hi, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today I'm breaking down the book The Human History Shaped by Plants for you. Who shaped whom? Humans or plants? For many folks, what comes to mind are examples of humans shaping plants, like rice and wheat. These crops are domesticated by us. But flip the question. What impact did these domesticated plants have on human civilization's evolution? The Human History Shaped by Plants. This book interprets human history purely from plants' perspective. The author presents an alternative human history molded by plants. Their influence stretches way beyond what we imagined. From human looks and tastes to society's money, community structure, economy, and trade, plants shape it all. Authority Shi Jun, botany PhD from Chinese Academy of Sciences, member of Botanical Society's SciComm Committee. He wrote Chinese Food, Fruit Histories, and Botanist Chopsticks, plus consulted for docs like Chinese Plants That Shook the World and Flavors of Humanity. This book offers a fresh lens on human history while shattering some deep-seated beliefs. Before exploring plant-shaped history, we need two core evolution theories, key to understanding the book. Theory 1. Reproduction efficiency comes first. We often hear survival of the fittest attributed to Darwin's Origin of Species when discussing evolution. The author calls this a classic misreading of Darwinian theory. Truth is, Darwin never used survival of the fittest. Not once. Species aren't superior or inferior, just adapted or not. In adaptation races, reproductive efficiency is king. Dr. Aston example. Say species A and B share an ancestor, live identically, but A reproduces 10% more successfully. Starting with equal numbers, in just 12 generations, A's population triples B's. Even if species A and B reproduce only once a year, in just 100 years, species A can completely take over species B's territory. In nature, differences in reproductive efficiency are actually small, but even with just a 1% or 1,000th stable difference, over long evolutionary timescales, it accumulates into significant gaps. In nature's competition, this kind of competition centered on reproductive efficiency is far more common than life or death struggles. Another fundamental theory of biological evolution we need to understand is the unidirectionality of species evolution. And then, unidirectionality means there's no turning back. All organisms evolve by improving and modifying on existing paths. They can only patch up the current foundation, not return to the starting point. It's like each person's life journey from birth to death is irreversible. That's the unidirectionality of evolution. Moreover, environment is crucial in the evolutionary process. What we usually call environment refers to abiotic factors like water, soil, air, temperature, and light, but the author emphasizes that other organisms are also vital environments. For example, in evolution, humans selected and domesticated plants, altering specific plants' environments. No, but these plants, in turn, changed humans' evolutionary environment. Okay, now that we've grasped these two basic theories of biological evolution, let's dive into the unique history co-written by plants and humans. I'll cover this in two parts. First, how plants affect the human body. Second, how plants affect human society. Plants' impact on the human body manifests in four aspects. First, the need to gather plant fruits promoted the emergence of human upright walking. Second, consuming large amounts of plant-based foods caused humans to lose the ability to synthesize vitamin C. Third, to deal with toxins in plants, humans learned to use fire, and abundant plant food sources promoted the development of the human brain and body. Fourth, plant seeds forced humans to change cooking methods, which in turn altered human taste preferences. Let's start with the first aspect. The need for gathering plant fruits promoted the emergence of human upright walking. As we just covered, the principle of reproductive efficiency priority forces organisms to adapt, and efficiency is at the core of adaptation. In the process of human ancestors adapting to the environment, the first issue to solve was energy acquisition efficiency. Actually, the entire human history revolves around improving energy acquisition efficiency, and upright walking was the first step to boost efficiency. Increasing evidence shows that early human ancestors sustained themselves by eating leaves. Some scientists even believe that humans' fondness for crispy foods today is an evolutionary imprint left on us. Because fresh plant leaves and insect shells both have a crispy texture, our brain requires energy. Among all primates, humans have the largest brain, and at rest, it consumes 20% of total calories, whereas ape brains consume at most 9% of total calories. More troublesome is that the human brain is picky. It only consumes glucose. This means that for humans to survive, they need to find more high-calorie foods within limited time. Plant fruits, which are higher in calories than leaves, are exactly such foods, and this need promoted the emergence of upright walking. Because bipedal movement frees the upper limbs for picking fruits and eases movement between fruits, maximizing fruit and calorie acquisition in minimal time. With improved fruit picking efficiency, early humans saved more time for other activities. For example, competing for territory, seeking mates, and ultimately reproducing more offspring. Thus, the genes for upright walking persisted in humans. The author believes that plant fruits are the true source of human upright walking. While gradually adapting to upright walking, plant diets also subtly influence the human body. The second aspect of plants' impact on the human body is that consuming large amounts of plant-based foods cause humans to lose the ability to synthesize vitamin C. Vitamin C plays a crucial role in plant development. It eliminates harmful substances produced by photosynthesis. If vitamin C synthesis is impaired, plants cannot develop normally. Therefore, plants are rich in vitamin C, and humans also need vitamin C. If deficient, people develop scurvy. We replenish vitamin C by consuming fruits and vegetables. In fact, most mammals can synthesize vitamin C themselves, and human ancestors were no exception. But during evolution, the human body lost this ability. This happened because after humans started consuming large amounts of plant-based foods with ample vitamin C reserves, the pressure to synthesize vitamin C decreased. Plus, synthesizing vitamin C requires energy. Individuals who lost this gene could survive well and redirect saved energy elsewhere. So this seemingly harmful evolutionary twist became advantageous for some, eventually spreading throughout humanity, making us rare among mammals who can't synthesize vitamin C. The third impact on humans, plants drove us to master fire, which provided abundant plant food sources, boosting brain and body development. Human access to rich food sources is closely tied to fire mastery. And plants were key catalysts for fire adoption. Why did humans use fire? Traditional wisdom tone. Traditional theories suggest cooked meat is easier to digest, aiding nutrition absorption. But modern experiments show raw meat often matches cooked meat in nutrient retention and digestion. So why use fire? The author argues it was to neutralize plant toxins, nature's defense against animals. Plant toxicity levels depend on predator-prey dynamics. More vulnerable plant parts contain higher toxins. For example, flowers and tubers often contain toxins. Flowers are reproductive organs, tubers store nutrients. Cassava contains lethal cyanide compounds. Animals evolved detox strategies. Koalas eat eucalyptus leaves with lower oil content since high doses are toxic. Though Australia has 300 plus eucalyptus species, koalas only eat 3 types. So what was humanity's detox method? Fire. Most plant toxins degrade with heat. Solanine in potatoes, 40% removed by 210 degrees Celsius frying for 10 minutes. Direct roasting works faster. Help us fresh, whip. Similarly, saponins and lectins in green beans and calcium oxalate raffids in taro can all be destroyed by high heat. Many plant tubers that are poisonous when raw become delicious food when cooked with fire, providing diverse plant-based nutrition. These nutrients promoted the development of human brains and bodies, ultimately evolving into Homo sapiens. The fourth impact, plant seeds, forced changes in cooking methods, altering human taste preferences. For human brains to function effectively, we needed stable, high-quality food sources. Thus, plant seeds entered humanity's dietary landscape. Seeds are nutritionally dense because they need ample resources to travel and survive. Plants have two reproduction strategies: quality-focused, like Coco de Mer, producing few but extremely viable seeds. Coco de Mer seeds weigh up to 15 kilograms, like a 3-year-old child, packing enough nutrients for seedling growth. Their hard shells also deter animals lacking tools to crack them. The other strategy: quantity over quality. For example, a single sorghum panicle holds thousands of seeds. Even if eaten, some survive digestion to spread. Familiar staples like wheat, rice, and sorghum all use this strategy. These quantity strategy seeds gradually became stable human food sources, but these seeds exist for plant reproduction, not to be eaten. They rely on animal digestion for dispersal, yet avoid complete destruction. Thus, they evolved two defenses against digestion: hard outer shells and crystalline starch in endosperm, making raw rice hard and indigestible. The author suggests human wisdom teeth are evolutionary remnants from processing such seeds. Without tools or fire, ancestors chewed these hard seeds intensely. Only thorough chewing released nutrients. Human ancestors' robust jaws were essential tools for nutrient acquisition, but even the strongest tools wear down. Although ancient humans had thicker enamel layers, by around age 20, teeth were mostly worn out, necessitating new teeth. That's wisdom teeth. One could say human wisdom teeth evolved precisely to crush the hard shells of seed foods like wheat and rice. Plants' second defense against digestion is keeping endosperm starch crystalline, making it hard for animal guts to process. Using fire for heating is an effective human solution to this problem. The main component hard to digest in our guts is amylose in starch. Not only is it indigestible itself, but it bonds with amylopectin to form crystals, hindering amylopectin digestion. When rice grains are heated, amylose unfolds, exposing amylopectin and putting starch foods in a digestible state. But after cooling, amylose reverts to its original state, which we call retrogradation. That's why cold rice is always hard, and also why we prefer hot rice today. However, steaming rice emerged after pottery invention. This method works for rice and millet, but boiling isn't ideal for wheat. To make wheat tasty, the best approach is grinding the grains. Archaeological evidence shows humans could make oat flour using stone tools as early as 32,000 years ago. Improved cooking techniques' biggest impact was turning wisdom teeth into vestigial organs. Vestigial organs. Vestigial means organs that are no longer functional but still exist. As human diets became more refined, by our 20s, teeth no longer wear down or fall out. Additionally, after upright walking, the foramen magnum shifted from backward to downward, slimming the jawbone and reducing space for teeth growth. So when wisdom teeth emerge, they crowd normal teeth and cause pain, making them true vestigial organs. Another vestigial organ plants gave us is the appendix. In animals like rabbits, cows, and sheep, it's well developed for digesting roughage. The appendix was abandoned in humans because our main food shifted from leaves to seeds. So why does the human body still retain these vestigial organs? This is because Homo sapiens have only existed for a mere 20 to 30,000 years, and this short time hasn't been enough for major bodily changes. All right, we've covered how plants affect the human body. Our structure, behavior, organs, and tastes are all influenced by plants. Beyond human life and living, plants have also had a huge impact on human society. Next, we'll move into part 2, how plants affect human society. This impact manifests in 4 aspects: human settlement choices, formation of social organizations, emergence of writing, and establishment of global trade systems. First, let's talk about settlement choices. Human ancestors migrated from Africa, chasing prey across Eurasia into the Americas.
So, what made them stop migrating and choose to settle down?
The answer still lies closely with plants. For human ancestors, a stable, storable source of calories was most important. And nature precisely offered this option: plant seeds. Typically, when plant fruits fully ripen, they naturally detach, allowing seeds to embark on a journey. Grass family crops. For example, wild rice also matures and drops grain by grain or batch by batch, making harvesting difficult. But during long-term gathering, ancestors noticed some wild rice grains remained on the stalks after ripening. From then on, generation domestication story, they domesticated rice to reduce grain shedding, eventually keeping grains on the panicles, giving rise to early agriculture. It was agriculture that prompted human settlement and formed early civilizations. Next, let's discuss the second aspect, how plants promoted the formation of social organizations. Humans gathered to form organized, disciplined social groups, primarily to boost agricultural efficiency. We know that the earliest civilizations all arose along major river valleys. China's Yellow River, India's Ganges, Egypt's Nile, and Babylon's Tigris and Euphrates rivers all nurtured early human civilizations. Why did civilizations emerge in these similar areas? This is absolutely not accidental. It's because these regions have natural advantages for agricultural development. Fertile soil, convenient irrigation. Only with ample food production can civilizations develop rapidly. However, while humans enjoy the abundance brought by great rivers, they've also been plagued by floods. How to manage floods and improve agricultural efficiency. This requires collective effort to build water conservancy projects. Take the Dujinyan irrigation system, built during the Warring States period, as an example. This project turned the flood-prone Chengdu Plain into a land of abundance, where floods and droughts are controlled. The Fishmouth levee of Dujinyan is 80 meters long, 39.1 meters at its widest, and 6.6 meters high. The Fishmouth levee extends downstream to form the Vagra embankment, with an inner dike of 650 meters and outer dike of 900 meters, plus the bottleneck channel and flying sand weir. Later on the page, the construction difficulty during the Warring States period without heavy machinery is imaginable. Such a massive project couldn't be done by a single household. Exactly how much manpower was consumed? We can't know for sure today. But from later maintenance data, just the annual labor force for upkeep reached 1,000 people, requiring strong management systems and cohesion. Through collaborative labor, large-scale human communities emerged, forming social organizations and state machinery. Thirdly, let's look at the relationship between plants and writing. For a long time, our textbooks have stated this. Using tools and language is a key feature distinguishing humans from animals. However, more research finds that using language and tools isn't unique to humans, but recording and transmitting language with writing is. So why did humans create writing? And why did writing proliferate? Modern archaeology reveals that early human clay tablets recorded grain quantities, showing that abundant harvests caused a data explosion, making precise recording necessary. Claim Program 1. Moreover, after entering agrarian society, precise control was needed for when to sow and harvest. This created the need for calendars, which also required massive data recording. In Xuanjizi, characters related to plants account for 12% of the total recorded characters. This clearly shows that recording plant growth information was a core mission of writing during Chinese characters' infancy. The author argues that Chinese characters' elegant, slender form and vertical writing direction emerged because ancient China primarily used bamboo and wooden slips, long plant-based mediums whose shape dictated the script's appearance and flow. Today in Xishuangbanna, Yunnan, we still see Gai people's palm leaf scriptures written on corypha leaves. Without spatial constraints, these texts are written horizontally, right to left, matching our modern reading direction. Thus, plants propelled writing's emergence and shaped its physical form. Finally, let's examine plants' role in global trade. First, early currency was deeply connected to plants. Money emerged to facilitate trade. As universal equivalents, currencies needed three traits: practicality, universal acceptance, and long-term storability, traits many plants and plant products perfectly fulfilled. Thus, historically, numerous plants and botanical goods served as currency, advancing human economic development. In 15th century central Mexico, the rising Aztec Empire used cacao beans as common currency. In the Aztec Empire, 80 to 100 cacao beans could buy an elaborate outfit. In China, silk fabrics and millet long functioned as legal tender. From Eastern Han to Wei Jin periods, taxes and business capital were settled with grain or cotton cloth. After the Middle Ages, regional civilizations developed and transoceanic trade flourished. In this economic globalization wave, plants again played pivotal roles. Trade routes connecting East and West.
Beyond China's familiar Silk Road and Tea Road, there was also a spice road.
Europe's cold climate couldn't support tropical spice plants like pepper, cloves, or nutmeg. To obtain spices, Europeans had to buy massively from the East, driving transcontinental trade. Today, it's hard to imagine that after Eastern spices like pepper reached Europe in the 15th century, they became nobles' ultimate status symbols. Back then, pepper shakers were guarded by housewives. Spice displays became power demonstrations. But the Ottoman Empire's rise massively disrupted the original spice routes. Then one man claimed he could open new sea routes to India, Christopher Columbus. Spurred by spices, Europeans reached the Americas, sparking the Age of Discovery and global trade expansion. We covered the spice saga in a previous Sally's Book Talk episode on The Spice Chronicles. Europeans brought back plant goods from the Americas: chili peppers, sugarcane, tobacco, and rubber. Sugarcane cultivation became the main driver behind the slave trade. Early colonists tried crops like barley, wheat, and apples with little success. Eventually, they discovered ideal sugarcane territory. But cane farming and sugar refining required massive labor, igniting brutal trade. They shipped European goods to West Africa, traded for slaves, transported them to America for silver, sugar, and tobacco, then back to Europe, completing the triangle. This triangular trade generated enormous profits, caused massive population shifts, and shaped modern North America. And it all began with sugarcane. Another plant that reshaped global trade was cotton. In China, cotton textile industries' rise shifted the economic center southward. Today, Jiangsu-Zhejiang-Shanghai is among China's most developed regions. But pre-Tang Dynasty, China's economic core was the Central Plains. Jiangnan's rise connects to two events. First, the Song Dynasty's southern migration. Second, Jiangnan's cotton textile boom. In late Song to early Yuan dynasties, Huang Daopo invented a seed-removing cotton gin and improved weaving techniques, dramatically boosting textile productivity. Meanwhile, from the Yuan era, cotton rice crop rotation emerged in Jiangnan, providing ample raw materials for the textile industry. Supported by both technology and materials, Jiangnan's textile industry flourished into China's most prosperous region. Cotton built China's wealthy Jiangnan, but in neighboring India, cotton once acted as a wealth extractor. From early 18th century, Britain's East India Company flooded India with machine-made cotton, crushing its handicraft system. Followed by commodity dumping and resource plundering, this siphoned millennia of wealth from colonies like India. This concludes the book's main content. After reviewing plant-shaped history, let's revisit the core question. Who shaped whom, humans or plants? The book offers no definitive answer. Truly, humans and plants are both collaborators and competitors. Through prolonged biological evolution, they've mutually selected each other. Adaptation and survival remain life's ultimate answer. That concludes our interpretation of the human history shaped by plants. Reading notes are below the audio. Until next time.